Welcome back. Today on the show, we're continuing our 2024 WNBA Draft prospect profiles. This time, we're focusing
I
on the
believe it's
non-lottery guard
2025.
prospects. Did I say
I think
2025?
it's I think it's 2025. You said 2024, I'm
To be
pretty sure.
fair, to be fair, multiple of them were 2024
That's
prospects.
yeah, that's a great point.
We'll be talking about Kentucky's Georgia Amoore, NC State's Aziaha James, and West Virginia's JJ Quinerly, and more. Let's get right into it.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on women's basketball. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. My name is Hunter Cruse. I'm your Saturday host covering the WNBA Draft and Prospect Scouting. Today, I'm joined by my co-hosts Emily Adler and Lincoln Shafer. Emily covers the draft with focus on player development and the game within the game. Lincoln also contributes to our draft coverage here at Locked On Women's Basketball. And the next, to open up with Georgia Amoore, who has been in college basketball for a minute now, 5 years in college, 4 at Virginia Tech, first season at Kentucky. She's
I believe, if
averaging
I
this
remember
season
your youthful age correctly, you were in middle school when she came over from Australia.
2020. Nah. I was in high school.
Wow,
I
older
was
than
in
I
high
thought
school.
you were.
Yeah, give me some respect there. But she's averaging almost 20 points per game, almost 7 assists on 40, no, 43% of the field overall, but 50% from two, career high, 33% going on 34% from three, 84% from the line. Just yesterday, as we record this podcast, she had 34 and 8 in a 1 point win over Liberty. Way too close there.
Liberty. We as a podcast do not support nor condone the existence of Liberty University, to be clear.
Or the state of Virginia.
Hey, Kenny Burks is from there.
Yeah, yeah.
And my cousin.
I guess I can't say that when we're doing a Georgia Amoore episode.
We're gonna like Hymora as like a hard 6 in like a month. We can't do that.
Yeah, but Georgia is what she is.
Astute observation, Lincoln. I mean, yeah, it's the same. It's mostly the same player. I think the ways that we were talking about this offline, and I know Lincoln will bring up the numbers in a second, but like she's mostly the same player that she's always been. I shouldn't say always been, but has been since like second half sophomore year, especially junior year when Asia Shepherd left and she took the reins as the lead ball handler. We know what she can do. We know what she isn't going to do. We know what she can't do. But I think what's at least been encouraging is the ways that we expected her to develop, especially that in between game, the ability to slowly get to the rim more, and especially have those mid range shots start falling. We projected that after junior year. It's here, so it's nice that she's at least following a pretty straightforward dev arc. You would probably want a little higher ceiling, given a little more signs of maybe unexpected development, given it was a pretty hard ceiling before. But it's it's nice. It's a good player.
Yeah, the scoring has really come along from the 8 to 15 foot range, where she's getting to the floater, she's getting to her spots in the mid range, out of pick and roll, out of coming off movement, running some of those snug pick and rolls at the elbows and inside the arc,
which they really didn't used to do at
right
Virginia Tech, but because of having Tiana Key, because of having Amanda Hassett, I definitely got her first name wrong, Amelia Hassett, they have really upped the use in the paint.
Yeah, and that's a very encouraging thing for someone like Georgia, who is this shot creator, pick and roll guard, who has sometimes struggled to put together consistent 3-point shooting performances.
Sometimes?
Her entire career has struggled to put together consistent 3-point shooting performances, because she'll have stretches where she shoots 44% from three over like a 10-game span, and you're like, oh, this is an all-star. And then she shoots 22% over the next 6 games, and you don't even know if she's going to be a WNBA player.
Mm-hmm.
And adding consistent scoring inside the arc really raises the floor on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say in that sense, because we discussed Pow Pow a couple weeks ago, like, for obvious reasons, putting Amoore in the Pow Pow role offensively would not be a proper maximization of her skill set, but her 3-point percentage would be better. So that is all to say, if you sort of equalize their roles, she gets to that 3-point percentage in the aggregate, as opposed to Pow Pow getting there on a game-to-game basis.
Yeah, and I think that the issue there is that I don't know if you can play her in that role with her being like 5'5" and a half.
That's basically the
And
question. It's always been, right? We had that episode last year.
mhm.
We've talked about her for a couple of years, and I think that was just like, I think you don't have players who are this size show up very often because you have to be a very good offensive talent. The last time we had a player of a stature that was small enough that it was basically like, there's no way this player can ever be good enough defensively, was Crystal Robinson, or not Crystal Robinson, Jesus Christ. She was
Robinson, Dangerfield.
Crystal Dangerfield, who was, I think, listed very generously at 5'6".
We've had
I'm
like
pretty sure she's also listed at 5'5".
I mean, that would make more sense.
Rookie of the year.
Like much more of like a mid-range shooter or a driver.
Yeah.
And I think that's the question has always been, at least for us the past couple of years, the question has been, can you play her enough minutes on the defensive end to make her basically an offensive starter?
Yeah, and WNBA teams generally play less drop than NBA teams too.
Yep,
So
way less.
that's just a note about trends in the leagues.
No, yeah.
to wrap up this conversation. What's our grade on Amoore?
It starts with a 4, I think. And I don't know if there's another number after it or not. I haven't decided.
I think for me it's a 45, probably higher end 45, but it really depends on her like usage in the W, right? Like if she's playing for Becky, like I have no doubts that she will be used correctly. If she's playing for
Liz and Georgia reunite.
Why not? If she's playing for
They need a point guard.
Redacted, then it's not going to work, and that's like a 4 at best.
Yeah. Context.
I would probably say like a soft 4 for me.
Ooh.
I'm just a lower on this type of archetype as far as like winning basketball, I think. Just like the super small guard where you kind of have to scheme around defensively, then offensively. I'm like, I don't know if for sure this player has. Like, I don't think the finishing is going to be there at a level for WNBA level. I don't think she's going to get to the rim and finish around like bigs and stuff like that at the WNBA level.
I don't think she needs to, because she's going to command coverage at the level. We've seen this in college. She gets to the rim when the opening's there because they play so high up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The mid-range jumper being what it's become makes me more confident. Like we talked about, just having more in-between game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just very context-dependent player. If she's in like Chicago, it's like, could be interesting. Not much spacing.
Hang out with Courtney Vandersloot.
Yeah,
That's always good for a point guard.
it is.
Yeah.
It requires enough like deliberate work by her coach when it comes to scheming up what they do when she's on the court in a way that W teams really are really reluctant to do with bench players. We've seen this to some extent in different places, but they're not going to do like what Denver did when they had Bones Highland and he was still good and not a basket case. Like teams don't do that in the W.
Yeah.
Let's get to our first ad break, then talk about Aziaha James and JJ Quinerly. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives business flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Also, March Madness is here and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get on the action right now. And right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. It's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. All right, to kick off segment 2 with NC State's Aziaha James, another one of these. When Aziaha James is on, she does some ridiculous stuff. I think my favorite clip of the season so far, non-Olivia Miles Paige Beckers, like they don't count here. Maybe Dominique Malunga too. She does some besides the top prospects. It was that fake behind the back that Aziaha did in was it the ACC tournament game?
That was the
Georgia
Notre
Tech?
Dame overtime regular season game.
That game, the fake behind the back, like
No, wait, that was a real behind the back. You're
yeah,
talking.
no, there were
Then
two
in that
different
case, I
ones.
don't know. I don't know
No,
what you're talking about.
No, maybe it wasn't behind the back where she faked. She put her arm out. Like she was gonna pass it.
Oh, that one! Yes!
That one.
And then she had the
That-
reverse layup backwards?
Yes, that's like.
Yes, that was the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
That was against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. But Aziaha this season at 18 points per game, 5 rebounds, close to 3 assists, 54% from 2, also a career high. It's pretty big for her there. Great mid-range scorer.
Which is wild for someone 5'9" taking double-digit twos.
And it's a lot of pull-ups. And 33% from 3, so around where Amoore is at on 6.5%. It's hilarious just the development she's made from where she was as a freshman, where she just couldn't make a free throw. 38% as a freshman, now is up to 74%. I think Aziaha she clears the Zaya Cook bar of like this player is
The Zaya Cook ISO ball, cook your defender, hit a pull-up too.
but she can actually hit them.
Who was the Mendoza line of that archetype? Lincoln?
Aerial Powers.
I was about to say it's AP, isn't it?
And I think
Aerial
I
Powers.
think
She
yeah,
plays
Zaya.
the Aerial Powers Mendoza line.
Well, it's kind of I've talked about before. There's a line of how much bucket getting you do versus how much other stuff you do, and you can fall anywhere on that plotted line, but you have to be above the line to be a WNBA player. If you're a great bucket getter but you can't do anything else, you have to be like the elitist of elite bucket getters and not do anything else to be in the WNBA. It's the same idea as I've made one of these graphs with shooting a couple years ago when we were
I
talking
remember that
about
one.
like
That was a
Taylor
good one.
Mikesell and
That's a good one.
T-Rob. Shout out to Taylor Robertson, one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
God, she's so fun to watch.
Yeah,
I wonder what she's
but
doing.
this is the Aziaha James
Accounting.
does I think she just does enough other stuff to get above the Mendoza line of bucket getting. She's elite off the bounce. She can get to her spots from 3, from 2, but she can't really do much off the ball, which does make me concerned about what's her role.
I mean, she moves off the ball.
Yeah,
is the
she
thing.
moves off the ball, but
And
she's not
she-
a good
Well, there's no
off-ball
ski-
shooter.
there's no
She's not a good off-ball
schemed
shooter.
in.
I wouldn't call her a plus cutter, but she's very good sort of moving around to get open. And she is quick enough and decisive enough attacking closeouts off the catch that it's not a huge question mark for me the way it was with I just took notes on someone like this, but there's a player who I can't remember who basically against a closeout, it's catch, think, and then act, and that kills offense.
Yeah. Not afraid of the moment.
What do we think of her defense?
It's fine.
All my notes
With a
just say
question mark.
yeah, no. I'm glad you phrased it like that because literally my notes on her defense are decent mirroring, decent chasing over ball screens, decently active in help, uses length decently in passing lanes.
I think she's
Not
okay
someone who's
enough.
going to get attacked.
What'd you say?
Not somebody who's going to get attacked, but not somebody who's making an outsized influence on your defense either.
Do we think she can do we think she at least clears the threshold enough to hold up as a chaser?
Probably.
Yeah.
How
She's-
concerned are you about the fact that she's completely unswitchable?
A little bit. A little bit
Yeah.
concerned. It's kind of
She's
just
co-
a stash in the corner. Go guard somebody who's trying to do the same thing that you are, and see if you can at least make it a little difficult.
And that's the issue with this player, is that she's kind of like a one position.
Yeah.
She's not a point guard. She's not a wing. She's defensively. She's not point of attack. She's not, she's like a switchable wing.
She's not doing anything to help. Yeah.
Yeah. So
This is a 2 guard.
this is a bucket
It's
getting.
also, what do you think of her passing, her playmaking?
There's some interesting flashes, at least.
I'm not really. Nah.
No,
I
I'm not
think-
saying that I think it's going to be like a plus at any position at any level, but she does some interesting things every like third game.
Yeah, I like the passing ability when she sees like a downhill read open.
Right.
So I don't think there's really any level of added playmaking here.
No.
And
Like, it's tough. Makes it tougher.
And you know that for sure because they molded Sanaya Rivers into that point guard for their roster instead of like saying, okay, Aziaha James, who's 5'9", we're gonna make you play the 1. Like there's a level of like, they don't even.
Yeah.
She's like their third guard, like
I was gonna
as far
say,
as passing,
In the
It's
pecking
Zoe.
order of passing,
Yeah,
Zoe's
it's
number
like-
2 there. Yep.
and that's kind of very telling about like just
Mhm.
how they view her passing. So,
Sure.
what would you say is your grade? Aziaha, again, like all of these players are like so context dependent as far as like how they scale.
Aziaha's pull-up shooting, I think I believe in, and this is sort of the same issue we had with Rakia Jackson grading her, I think, early last year, which was like, you are betting on exactly one skill. It's arguably the most important skill, but you're betting on how much does one skill translate. It's like Stubby version of Nick Madrigal as a prospect.
White Sox legend.
Well, hopefully she doesn't tear up her shoulder and lose a grade of pull-up shooting as a result, like Nick Madrigal did with the sitting. Anyway, 45?
Yeah, with the question mark, that's about where I'm at.
Dang, so we're gonna have like 40 on like 15 different people in this draft.
Yeah, I want it to be something like more interesting than like it's at least not a 4. I have way more 4s than 45s, but like I want it to be something more just to mix up the logjam here. But like
How many
definitely
threes
believe
do we
in
even
her.
have? Like none.
it's like
I feel like someone has to be a 3. in
she's a
this
very
draft.
low variance player, obviously. It's just
Honestly,
the
I'm
one
like,
thing. It's just the one thing that has any level of variance is the only thing that matters.
I don't trust this archetype enough to say a 45. I would say like a 3 or a 4, soft 4. Like, I think I'm lower on these type of players.
I'm trying to learn if this archetype I can trust more, because like obviously with Zaya Cook, the pull up 2-point efficiency was never there, and at least Aziaha does it in.
She couldn't
ways-
finish.
I mean, she could, but like,
Z's defense was really fun her senior year, though.
Yeah, she was
That
better
was-
defensively.
yeah, she was like a legitimately decent point of attack defender.
I think one of the things here is that there's a difference in this archetype between 5'8" and 6'2", like a significant difference.
Well, that's what I was about to say. The reason I'd give this like a 45 instead of a 3 is Aziaha's a +2 wingspan. It shows up when she's shooting. She is really able to vary her release point in the air. She's able to go off of either foot. She's able to really read her individual defender to get the shot off and get off accurately. And you need to see that. Zion could not do that.
Fair.
Zion was about getting to her spots, pulling up and letting go.
So let's get to our final ad break, then talk about JJ Quinerly at West Virginia. Daylight savings time has snuck on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late to watch the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
To close out this episode, are not going to go as long here, but on JJ Quinerly at
We'll
West
find another
Virginia.
time to edit out. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad we saved the least complicated player for last, for sure, with no time left.
JJ
Definitely not-
Quinerly,
the least projectable player, for sure.
JJ Quinerly, the most points of anybody here, averaging 20 points per game, and she's averaging
That's right.
three turnovers. Just across the board.
That's
Three
pretty-
everything.
That's
I
peak.
honestly thought you were stuttering for a second.
No, it's three rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 turnovers. All three. Pretty impressive there. Consistent. And she's also very consistent from 3. She's 32% from 3, and she's been 33, 30, 34, 32. So she's been around the same mark all 4 college seasons, all at West Virginia.
That is
With
so-
3 different
that-
coaches through 3 different
Yeah.
systems.
It's impressive. Like,
Okay, the 3-point shooting needs more context though, because after her sophomore year, she started taking a bunch more pull-up threes because of the change in scheme to Mark Kellogg. At the same time that, as Lincoln can explain a little more, she changed her mechanics and actually became a much better 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
The numbers just don't
mechanics are
show
They're significantly smoother. She kind of raised her release point from like a chin to a higher up. It looks a lot better, a lot cleaner.
The power transfer is way better.
The power transfer is significantly better. It's much smoother. But the thing that Quinerly does that the other two that we've talked about today don't really do is get to the rim with volume.
Oh, I thought you were going to say play defense.
I mean, that too. JJ Quinerly is, by some metrics, you could say the anchor of the best defense in the country. West Virginia allows the least points per game, I believe, of any Power 5 team. She's incredibly quick. She gets to the rim. She gets to the free throw line. She's playing in transition a lot because of the scheme at West Virginia, where Mark Kellogg has them pressing for 42 minutes a game, and they only play 40 minutes. So,
42 minutes of hell.
Yeah.
let's
yeah.
go.
And it's just kind of living in the backcourt all the time. And it's also strange because she is a combo guard who's playing as a combo forward. Because
Yeah, she's a
defensive
West Virginia
3.
is so small.
Oh my
They have
God.
it's like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", 5'10".
Kaya Watson's 5'11" is like the second string center.
Yeah.
I think she's 5'10".
Yeah.
Whatever. You got the point.
Yeah, their starting 4 is 5'10", and they're playing in the Big 12 against teams that are playing like 3 players over 6'1". TCU's starting 3 is taller than the starting center at West Virginia. And
Yes.
it just leads to a bunch of weird things happening in terms of the matchups and stuff. But JJ Quinerly has been this consistent production, and her handle is incredible. She's one of the best athletes in this class. She's so quick. Her first step is incredible. And when you put all that together, it's just, there's so much to bet on with Quinerly.
Yes. Here's my thing. The peripheral stats are everything I want them to be. Well, I shouldn't say everything I want them to be. The peripheral stats are more than good enough for me to bet on. She, over the past 2 years, is about a 36% 36% catch and shoot 3-point shooter. It's better than that on open threes. She is she's over the past 2 seasons, I think like 44% on huge volume of pull-up twos. And it's not just sort of open transition looks. She's 43% each of the last 2 seasons in the half court on pretty good volume pull-up twos. She is a very good finisher. I wouldn't say great, but probably like close to a plus grade there. Like you said, she draws a shit ton of fouls. But just with the offensive flow of it, when I'm watching her in the half court, when I'm watching her against teams that aren't, trying to think of who's even in that league. I'm watching her against teams that aren't like Utah defensively, SMU, BYU. Like the flow
SMU's
is
not in the Big 12.
I don't know why you said that.
Houston.
Yeah.
I have her.
The flow is not there, and that worries me. I don't know how to separate that concern from what is a truly abysmal level of offensive quality in her teammates that she's had basically her entire time at West Virginia. But like specifically, we're talking about the past 2 years since she made this mechanics change. And I frankly don't know what to do with that. She's not like a Mo Jeff level, like Mo Jeff when she was at UConn. She's not that level of guard defender. She's like a tier lower, somewhere between like Mo Jeff and Nika Mule at the point of attack. And like, I like that a lot. Is that enough for me to worry less about the half court offense? I don't know. And I'm curious where you guys see that. Or if you disagree.
It's hard to find flow when you're in 3 systems over 3 years. It's a fair concern.
It's at least been the same system the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That barely plays in the half court.
Right.
Yeah.
But it plays in the half court more often against your TCUs and your good non-conference, because those are teams that can score in the half court, and so West Virginia can't play transitional offense.
Yeah, her efficiency dropped off like a dramatic amount whenever it's versus like the quad ones, like the TCUs, the Baylors. She's at if you look at half court, she's at 40% effective field goal overall, 25% on above the break threes, 32% mid range. Half court, 63% at the rim.
Which is
overall,
insane.
it's like 71% at the rim overall in those games.
Which is
but
absolutely insane.
the
But
shooting is not there against the major opponents, but it's very good against like the bad teams.
right, so that's where I wonder the difference between, and I can't given the combination of scheme and opponent, and especially the quality of her offensive teammates. Jordan Harrison is a perfectly decent starting Power 5 undersized point guard, Power 4 undersized point guard, but like beyond, and she's on a plus, and beyond that, there's no offensive talent here.
Yeah.
Outside of what they do in the scheme. And so I don't know where to separate these issues.
Yeah. It is interesting. There's
Right.
a lot to be confused about.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Do you have
Fun. I know that she's incredibly fun to watch.
Oh, she's so much fun to watch. Holy shit.
Dog factor.
Dude. She's
Yeah.
So that's one thing I was going to say. Like,
Dog factor?
actually, yes. In terms of the intangibles, we've talked about this before, how much intangibles matter and how much like things like work ethic, competitive drive, motor actually matter, but are ways that it's hard for us to measure. She clearly has an insane motor. She has the dog factor, like you said. She shows up at the end of games. Even if it's not hitting, she does so much to affect the game and plays her goddamn mind out.
Curve your Mountaineers.
Exactly. And also, God. And also, given the mechanics change she made in the middle of her college career as a good player anyway, when Mark Kellogg was coming in, she clearly has the work ethic and the openness to change things and rework her game. So, like, these are really positive signs that are very hard to ignore, especially in comparison to other players that we're going to have in this range who, maybe have more straightforward talent, injury exceptions notwithstanding, but are sort of harder to, but maybe don't have obvious fixes.
Sure.
To wrap up this conversation, let's rank these 3 players. How would you rank Georgia Amoore, Aziaha James, JJ Quinerly as prospects?
I guess it's exactly reverse order from there. I have Quinerly and then Aziaha and then Georgia.
I would probably have Quinerly. I'd probably have the same order. It's really close between Quinerly and Aziaha, but just for the things I just mentioned, I think it's easier to see Quinerly being open to the work that it takes to fill different roles and to sort of adapt her game more. And you don't find players like that very often in this archetype.
Yeah, I'm probably Georgia, JJ, Aziaha, I think.
It's fair.
But
They're very close.
Yeah. These to me are all 45s.
Seems reasonable.
I'm very curious to see where JJ will go though, because it feels like she's just not talked about that much because she plays at West Virginia. It's the Big 12. Nobody really cares about the Big 12. Anyways, good episode today. Talking
Yeah,
about
you too.
good episode today. Thanks, Midlands Basketball. Your first listen every day, or if you're second listen, if it's your second listen, we appreciate you too.
Even if it's your third, frankly.
It's 2 p.m., so it might be your fourth.
Thanks for putting up with us, really.
Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Make your second listen Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone.